So today is the Bourrée tutorial, specifically Bourrées in pointe. They are called Bourrée en carreau or sometimes pas de bourrée suivi. Okay, so let's get started. Make sure your feet are warmed up for pointe. And the first thing I want you to do is just stand facing the bar in 5th position. And when you feel secure in your balance in 5th position, start picking up your feet 1 foot at a time. Alternate your feet in the coup de pied position. Even though you're picking up your feet, you still have to keep your upper body still, and try to let go of the bar and see if you can continue. Eventually you should be able to speed up and pick your feet up quickly so that both feet are never on the floor at the same time. The second one foot comes down, the other one comes up. You're only in 5th position for a microsecond. You also have to bend your knees. You have to keep them a little bit loose, actually. You want your legs to have a ripple effect, like something is rippling the water. It's important to keep your feet right under you during bourrées and not to step out. My feet just kind of go up and down while my knees bend slightly to the side, because we're sort of in 5th position, and if you're turning out, your knees go to the side, but it's almost like a flutter that carries me. And that fluttering motion comes with a lot of practice. You start slow and then you speed up. And the faster you go, the smaller that movement becomes, and that is what creates the fluttering or rippling effect of bourrées. You can also practice this by standing in parallel. Pretend you're very cold and your legs are starting to shiver really fast. This will give you that same quivering, fluttering feeling. Another weird tip for you is to imagine that your knees are like a Newton's cradle. So when one knee comes in, it immediately pushes the other one out. It's like the two can't be in the same spot. The knees are never straight at the same time. Imagine doing a big, silly, exaggerated emboîté. However, the tricky part is, even though your knees are bending, you still need to try to keep your thighs close together. That will become easier when the movement becomes smaller and faster. When you get really good and really fast, these bourrées are going to feel more like a vibration rather than stepping up and down. You could imagine that you are trying to hold a sheet of paper in between your thighs, even though you're trying really hard to shiver and quiver and flutter your legs as fast as you can. Another tip I have is to imagine that the back foot is actually leading you. So if you're traveling to the right, the left foot and back is pulling you to the right. Letting your back foot lead will keep your legs crossed and together, so your legs will look like one fluid, quivering line. If you were to lead with the front foot, your legs would likely come apart, and this will look very awkward. So unfortunately, bourrées do hurt after a while if you're doing a lot of them, and you may want newer or hard shoes if you're doing a variation with a lot of bourrées. You also want to make sure the tip is not worn down. If you're dancing in an older pair of shoes, the layers of material can actually start to peel away, and that's what will make it feel like your toes are going straight into the floor, and that's very uncomfortable. So make sure you have a hard, thick tip. You may also want a shank that's a little harder than usual. Now is not the time to be pushing over the box and showing off your archy feet. You want a hard shoe that will keep your foot straight and supported. Bourrées in soft, over-archy shoes can injure your metatarsals. You want a nice, straight, supported ankle during your bourrées. As far as your toes go, you could get thicker toe pads, or I want to show you my personal favorite tape to use if I need a little extra cushion around my toes. I put this foamy tape directly on my skin to protect the tips of my toes and sometimes my calluses. It's cushy, but it's still thin, so it doesn't add a lot of bulk and it doesn't make my shoes feel like they're too tight. You could find this in any pharmacy or you could order it online if you want. I hope these tips helped you out. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow me on Instagram, here you go. But also, P.S. Black lives still matter. There's still a lot going on, even though you're not seeing much about it anymore. I'm still donating my YouTube money towards charities, and you should too. Check out this list and do whatever you can to be a good ally. Everybody, please stay safe and stay salty. See you next time.